Oh, yeah. Okay, so we're live. Can you, does anybody hear us? Is the audio okay?
You hear both of us.
Yeah. Let's watch everything catches up.
Yeah, I don't know what it's saying. Oh, it's spinning with the logo.
Oh, let's go. Well, can anybody hear? Like in the typing square, can you type away and see if you can you hear us? Or at least me?
Anybody?
Mm-hmm.
Mark says low.
Okay. How about, is that better? Hello, check, test. Check. Hey, everybody, test. We're doing an audio test
I
here.
can hear us on the thing. My mom can hear.
Okay. I turned it up a little, so whatever. How many people we got in the typing
It keeps
square?
going back up and down between 3 and 4. We've got Kayla, Mark, my mother.
I think.
Kayla says, I can hear you.
Good. Excellent. Tubular. Hope everybody got their highlighters and their sticks.
I'll better have your highlighter of various colors.
You only nearly one color.
Yeah, but you can pick whatever color you want.
Yeah, but don't say various colors because they're only going to need one highlighter. Well, I guess if you wanted to be a badass, carry two around.
Yeah, it'd be fancy.
Get a little leather holster for them. Oh, you know how it goes, people. Once we get to 5 people or 5 likes or something, we'll start.
I see it's at 4, and there's a couple likes. Oh, there's 4 likes.
When I move around, can you hear like any clicking or anything? Like, is there any static hissing?
Any weird stuff?
This works. I'll be surprised.
Does a gift wrap tube count as a stick? Kayla
Yeah.
asks. Anything that's long.
I was actually thinking about that.
That's not a bad idea.
Like,
we have a bunch.
Because I was like going to recommend, what if you have like gift wrap? But I was like, well, Christmas is long gone, and who keeps those like wraps of birthday paper around? But you know, you never know. So if you got one of those, knock yourself out. Like I even have one of my examples here is a ruler, but whatever. We'll get into it. Oh, I gotta get my notes. Shit, they're all the way over there. Supposed to walk this way.
Walk this way. Walk this way.
All right, yeah. Let's get us kicked off YouTube by singing copyrighted songs.
Well, it has to be like a billion seconds.
A billion seconds? Those YouTube robots, they'll find us in a matter of milliseconds. Okay, I got all our stuff here.
How's everybody doing on their lovely, what is this, Friday?
It's Flamingo Friday, duh.
Duh.
You're about to get an eyeful. If you're watching, I don't have, this is a real rinky-dink operation too, everybody, so don't expect to hear the intro, because this is a bare, like if I took a picture of what I am looking at, you'd be like, oh my god, this is the rinkiest operation I've ever fucking seen.
Kayla says, knock myself out. Is that an official self-defense instruction?
Not official, no. Okay, so Chris, I'm gonna have you just hit fade.
Okay.
And we'll be live.
Where is fade?
Middle.
Oh.
Right there.
Fade.
Swing, here we are. Hi, everybody. No theme song. Hey, everybody, welcome to the show.
Hey, everybody.
You know,
Randy.
thanks for showing up for Flamingo Friday. Hey, Randy. Hey, Mark. Hey, everybody. I don't know. It's going to be a weird night. We're going to be standing. You can probably see that. We're going to be doing true crime and self-defense. So I forgot to turn this around so I can see myself.
Way to go. Oh, Randy said, let's see the non-flamingo romper. You should have worn that.
But it's a non-flamingo romper, Randy, and it's Flamingo Friday. Next time. If we do another training session on like a non-Friday, it's all yours. So I got my flamingo headband, got our merch. So should we wait a little longer or should we just start warming up? Let's just start warming
We've
up.
got 6 people.
We got 6 people. Okay, so for warm-ups, you know, here's what I'm going to say about warming up. Every time you work out, warm up. Because I've been going at it hard, like training all the stuff back here that we'll get to in a minute, like all week. And the only reason my arms haven't fallen off or like I haven't torn something is because I warm up like before I go hard. So basically you want to get your feet, you can't see our feet, but you want to keep them about shoulder width apart. So you're just going to sort of bend your knees and sink into that stance. You're just going to spin. For this, you just want to twist, you know, as far as nature will let you, like a rubber band, and then push it about 5% more. Just let your arms swing at your sides. This is using gravity to pull blood into your arms, your joints. It's also working your hips, your knees, your ankles. All your power is going to come from your hips when you're fighting off those murderers.
Yeah.
So let's talk about our true crime case. So this is it's a weird one. Okay, so now we're gonna, you know, whatever, we're done swaying. So basically you're gonna do 2 hammer fists, like that. Lift them over your head and bring them straight down. Whoosh, like drop them. You're not necessarily like really pushing them down, just like boom. So I'm gonna have to look at these dudes' names because they're crazy. This case takes place in South Africa. It's Frans de Twee and Thunes Kruger. So basically, here's a little bit of backstory. We all remember in the 80s the Satanic Panic, you know, which died out around 1995. Well, but everything goes slower outside of this country apparently because like it was in the 2000s the Satanic Panic happened in South Africa. And so they actually had, instead of being like, oh, spoiler alert, the FBI says very few people are ever killed by cults because they don't exist, and like devil worship is almost non-existent. All right, start spinning again. So, by the time we figured out that, South Africa was like already had a task force for it. So these 2 guys I mentioned before, Kruger and de Twee. They're just 2 like punks, the 2 assholes living in South Africa, and the first time they come into, you know, our story, they basically attack and assault a woman who, you know, gets away, reports it to the police come get them, and their bail is set so low, the fact that they got bail in the first place. It was set so low, they said, okay, and they left the same day after assaulting this woman. So needlessly, what happens next happens. There's a woman named Alison Botha. So she was out partying, right? So now we're going to start warming up our shoulders back and forth here. Going to be switching hands each time, or, you know, one hand over the other. So we got our 2 dudes, and they are, you know, basically your folie à deux. I haven't looked into them a whole lot because I think they're scumbags. But so Alison Botha and her friends go out for a night on the town, and they come home, they have some pizza, and they play some games, and it's late. So Alison takes one of her friends home. And it's like 1:30 in the a.m. So when she comes back to her place, the parking spot which she was in is taken. So she was forced to park under a big tree in a very dark part of the street.
Sketchy.
So what happens is, we're going to do big outward circles. So what happened was, like as she's like grabbing her phone, getting her purse, doing all the whole like get out of your car routine, door pops open. One of these 2 jackasses runs in with a knife and he's like, Move over, I'll kill you. So she complies. And at the end of a knife, you can't really blame her. Switch directions. So crazy tragic. Like these two idiots take her off, they assault her, and then like whatever his reasoning was, which later is bullshit. The long and the short of it is they stabbed her a whole bunch in the stomach and around here. Bam, 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 and then they slit her throat, and they left. So amazingly, she survives. So she survives getting stabbed 30 some odd times. Her intestines fell out, and when they slit her throat, they cut one of the muscles where she could not lift her head up.
Oh,
So what she does is, one of these idiots left a shirt behind.
nice.
So she takes the shirt, she bounds herself up, she grabs herself by the hair, walks out to where the road is, and lies on the white line. So people find her. This is, thank God, after cell phones had been invented. Beep, beep, 911 or whatever the South African equivalent is, and she lives. So our lesson is kind of going to be based around like what happens if, close encounter. So first of all, like the first tool that will save your ass 9 times out of 10. Like, you don't even need to pick up a weapon. You don't need to throw a punch or even study a martial art. Use your fucking eyes. If you look around, take in what's going on. Like every time I am at my work and I'm walking in the mailbox, there's a sketchy dude. I'm going to tell you a story here in a little bit. The sketchy dude lives over there. So I keep my head on a swivel. Everywhere I go, I'm not like paranoid. I'm not saying be paranoid. But keep in mind, if somebody's acting sketchy, don't be like, meh. Like elevated attention, not like, don't be one of those weirdos who's always like, everyone's out to get me. Don't be one of those gang stalker weirdos. Is anyone talking in chat? I feel like I should be responding to somebody. Oh, take a drink.
Trung, it says,
Trung.
Whatever you're telling sounds horrifying.
Yeah. So anyway, back to that. To put a button on that. Their defense was demons made them do it. Now keep in mind, the Satanic Panic here in America was thoroughly debunked by 1995. This is like it's between 2000 and 2010. I can't remember exactly. So it's cell phones, but obviously 15, 20 years past, everyone else is like, yeah, there's no devil cults.
Well, they're in South Africa.
And they still tried to pull that shit. But yeah, so it didn't work, obviously.
Right. Just a couple of assholes.
Yeah, so they claim to be controlled by demons, and I forgot, so I'm glad I have my notes. So when the police come up to them and they say, hey man, what the fuck, you tried to murder this woman and she survived. But they don't tell her that. They go, you're being charged with rape and murder, and they go, well, for what? Because they thought they killed her, because they, thought did all this horrible stuff to her. And so it was for what was the first excuse, then it was the demon thing, and then the loophole they thought would get them out of this was that between the murder and the time the police had talked to them, they had gotten an exorcism, and so were completely not culpable of the crime. And can you believe, I think they're still in prison.
Oh, well.
So whatever. Moral of the story is, like, and part of it, her story is she went on to be like a self-help type person, and was a survivor, and is empowering and stuff, and she gets all these questions like, why didn't you do this? Why didn't you do that? So the moral of the story, a bad story is, you don't know what you're going to do. If you don't train, you can freeze, whatever. If someone like me, if someone comes up to my car and says, get the hell out of my, move over or you're dead, as I'm moving over, I'm getting at that other door. But again, like, you see a knife, who knows? So that's what training and self-defense is. So I hope there's probably not 2 people in each room going to watch this. I'll show you we're going to go over some drills that will increase your speed and coordination so that when you start wanting to throw punch it or use a weapon or whatever you decide your self-defense strategy will be when the time comes, it'll help. So Krista, so basically, real easy drill. If you got someone with you, make them stand up and do this. It's pretty easy. Or, whatever, watch it later. So basically your guard's going to be up like this. So your guard's always up. If your hand isn't out in a punch or whatever, if it's not striking, it's back here. You don't want someone to grab it. So what we got here is the attacker is going to throw a straight punch to the face. So the defendant, in this case, so it's a parry, pat, push down, and then return the punch. So if you're doing it by yourself, you're going to go left with your first. You're going to come under with your right. See, we're swapping here. So that goes a little bit further and then down, and then she's going to punch. When you punch, you're going to put your hip and your shoulder into it. We're far enough away, we're not going to hit each other. So if you're doing this at home, take your arm and add 8 inches or whatever.
Don't punch anybody.
Yeah, so your guard up. Come over here, Chris, so you kind of see what I'm doing. So your guard up, it's going to be your on the hand on the outside, because personally, for me in self-defense, a lot of people will go inside the guard and punch their face, but I'm worried about this other hand. So for me, I always go on the outside. Boop. Because over here, you can see I'm hiding behind this arm, and that one can't get me so well. So for this drill, I'll go ahead and throw the punch. Left hand right about on the wrist. Now, you don't want to be like, oh, this isn't a huge power block or anything like that. It's just a little boop. Just get it off your nose line to right off your cheek. Because if a punch is actually going to come at you, all the force is coming this way. Like, it doesn't take much. And it just shoots off. And like, obviously, when it's coming full force, you might freak out. So that's why we're training. So with here, left hand, little tiny pat. Your right hand, boop, right on the back, gives a little bit more. Left hand comes over, pushes down. We are in the path. Boom, for the punch. And back up and block. So let's back up a little bit so you can see that. Okay, so she's going to go. Pat, push, boom, boom. Remember, you're punching, hip and your shoulder coming at me. So when you're doing this slow, if you're just going to do it by yourself, it looks kind of like this. You're going to punch, pretend like someone's pushing your hand down, and then pretend like they're punching you. So it's left, like you're watching, left, right, left, push, and deliver that punch as this one comes back up to guard. Does that make sense, everybody? Should I slow it down?
Mark says, then you do the hokey pokey and you turn yourself around. Jeff says, damn, that's why I'm doing it, violence. Mark says, I'm just trying to read the book titles in the bookcase.
Oh.
There's a lot, so good luck.
That's nothing. You're not even seeing this bookcase. Well, we'll talk about that later. Okay, so Krista. So, if you have, I don't know why you would, but like if there's a stick you can put somewhere, you can just hit, like that'll help too. Because you kind of want to get someone to give you that tactile feedback, because you can do this all day and night, but until you get a fist in there, you don't really know exactly where you're going. You know what I mean? So watch Krista. Boom, boom, boom. So now Krista's still a little of the beginner stage, but we're all there at the beginning, obviously. That's what they call the beginner stage. What a fucking brilliant thing I just said.
We're all beginners,
Hey,
but she's
we're
a
all
beginner.
beginners in the beginning. But she's even more of a beginner. She hasn't even begun this yet.
I'm an advanced beginner,
I feel like let's take a step this way a little bit. Framing is off. So, when you're doing this, make sure you don't just stick to one side. Like, since Krista's left-handed and I'm right, I always start with the right. But I know, we've got to, because okay, so whatever. Even if you don't have a left-handed person, still do the left hand. Because what if somebody, whatever, you got two hands for a reason. Train fucking both. God damn it. Just do it. So remember, it's pat. I can't remember the patterns. Block, pat, push down, puncher. I feel like there was 3 P's. Something, something, push down, punch. Well, yeah, whatever. It's 3 moves. Basically, just right off your nose, down a little bit, so you can clear a path through this baby to punch. Boop, boop, boop. Doop, doop, doop. And also, when you're doing this, don't like, you want to like not, because Krista will do this all the time too. She doesn't want to move her hips. So, but as you're doing this, see how I'm doing it? As she's pushing me, I'm pushing her, you sort of want to get your hips into it.
It's like a dance.
It's, yeah, kind of, but it's like, it's repetition disguised as whatever. One of the guys I watch on YouTube, I'm going to recommend it at the end of this show, but whatever. Repetition disguised as something. All right, boom, we'll just call that.
Boom.
So, remember, we'll do this later and slow this down or teach a friend or whatever. Like, you don't need, there's no need to like pretend or whatever. There's no gatekeepers. Do this with a friend. Teach them. Like, hand up, have them put the punch out there. Boom, boom, boom. Left, little pat. Back of the right hand, little pat. Push it all the way down. Deliver that punch and make sure you come back up. Boop, boop, boop. And then do the other side too, obviously. So what that all is going to do, every time you deliver that punch, your accuracy is going to get a little bit better. I know it feels like you're just doing the repetitive motion, but you know, whatever. Get your wife stand in front of the TV. You don't even have to watch what you're doing once you get this little pattern.
Yeah, I was absolutely 110% terrible when he started teaching me, and I feel like I'm 80% there.
It doesn't take much. Like, you don't, that's the thing about self-defense, the martial arts, and all that other stuff. Is like, you can, if you're like me and you want to take it to an 11, you totally can. But you don't have to. Case in point. So, let's say, you know, obviously in the Kruger whatever case, there was a knife involved. So we can touch upon that later. But let's say we have a bare-handed attacker. Now, this is why I told you to get a pen, a Sharpie, or whatever. So let me... Highlighter. Here's a whole bunch of stuff that everybody has. I took a lot of this from work. This is an off-brand Office Max Sharpie. That's a real Sharpie. Free pen from work. Your highlighter is a nice wood pen I got from Hawaii. Another free pen. And then we got this baby. So this is a tactical pen that, I mean, you're going to see how it happens, but it's just a sharp-ass pen. But you don't need this. This cost $10, and this was free at work, so we're going to do the free one. So let's say you're a teacher or you work in an office or anywhere where there's a Sharpie, and you don't feel comfortable yet carrying a weapon or whatever. Like, this can totally fuck somebody's day up and keep them from hurting you. So, the basic idea here is when you're going to be practicing these strikes and moving along, your grip is going to grow. So I wouldn't worry about, like, because I was on the fence about being like, put your thumb right there, because all the people with weak grip, but don't do that. When you're doing all this stuff, if you practice it, you'll get a strong grip, and you won't need to put your thumb there because you'll want to use that later. So anyway, moral of the story is this thing is, you know, hard. It's plastic. It will really hurt because if all your force is being compacted into this tiny little diamond area, or even this one, you know, this, bam, is going to hurt, but there's a lot of meat relatively right here. But with this, there's nothing. There's literally nothing between their face and this thing coming in super fast. So, Krista, back to this situational awareness. Let's say you just keep one in your pocket, or you carry it from work, or you got it in your whatever. Like, a lot of people will keep things, you know, stuff, concealable stuff in their pocket just for comfort. Like, I have a tactical pen that I wear, and if, you know, whatever, I'm out and something spooks me because I'm an insecure guy, I'll stick my hand in my pocket and I'll wrap my hand around that thing. It's whatever, you want to say it's like a pacifier. Probably, because I've never gotten into a fight, but it's innocuous. I just stuck my hand in, and my hand is now around my pen, and if someone wants to get at my whatever this is, I want to stop them.
Well, I was like, a long time ago when I first like got a job and stuff like that, or I was walking at night. I forget who it was that told me. It could have been my mom or my dad or whatever, but they said when you're walking in the dark alone, like have your hand on your keys so that like, you know, if anything were to
So
happen. That's what
here's the thing. That advice is well intentioned,
yeah.
but a technique without practice doesn't mean shit. Like if you can give anybody a gun that'll have killing power, if they don't have any training with it, they can kill themselves or kill whatever or hurt themselves
Right.
or the problems are endless. So the point is repetition and training. So what we got?
Kayla says barehanded attacker. This looks suspicious.
Bear maced.
Mark says the highlighter is to mark the dangerous people to keep an eye on.
Oh hell yeah! Like if you see a dude passed out on the ground, and this thing will probably like I could probably make it pop on some dude's head, but I don't know if she could. But like if you're wailing on a dude, like he's not only gonna get fucked up with that thing after it explodes, he's blind. So it's a perfect weapon.
Now, my mom is the one that told me about the key thing.
Yeah, the key thing is, I mean, in
does it.
principle, whatever. We can talk about whatever questions that everybody has later. But moral of the story is, I am a bigger opponent than she is. So like, if I want to whatever, and I could overpower her. But here's the thing: you have to like put yourself mentally in a position like this, where whatever. Obviously, someone isn't going to be standing like this and then thrust their arms
Ready?
and grab you and shake you. So you don't know, but they're probably going to be like moving around, getting in your face or whatever. Or I mean, probably not if you're. I mean, I can't say that either. So whatever.
It can happen.
Yeah. What I'm saying is, dudes will be the one to be like, "Yo, bro, want to go?" I've not seen a lot of ladies do that, but it happens. So watch it. But here's the thing: when someone comes at you, and like they're coming, first of all, before you do literally anything, I want your hands up. Like if someone's coming at you and you feel uncomfortable, hands up like this. Like even if you are not carrying a weapon or whatever, like let's say you do have the highlighter and you got it in your pocket and some dude comes out of the shadows in a parking lot or whatever the case may be. I don't want to paint a picture of who this boogeyman is. You have to be adaptable. But, first thing you do, get your hands up. Whoa. And so basically,
highlighter.
well, whoa, like so. You don't want to fight. Like I don't ever want to fight. I've never been in a fight. Don't want to get in one. So take a step back and breathe, and don't freak out. Because what if you are freaking out and they're just like, "Hey, sorry, I tripped and I need some help over here. Do you know where the bathroom is or whatever?" This means whoa. So you're not basically.
You're not stabbing them
you're
at the first go.
doing two things. You're making yourself a smaller target by stepping back. Watch. So like, if you're there, like I'm walking and a dude steps out. Whoa. So I'm going to also put up my guard. So with that out of the way, if someone does want to come in, make yourself a small target and sort of, breathe and relax. Because if you freak out and you run and they're bigger than you or they're faster than you,
they have a hidden gun.
No, don't even worry about that. Like, don't worry about the things you can see. Don't already think, next I'm going to have to deal with his gun and his knife. Just deal with the situation as is.
This is why I'm a lower than beginner.
Yeah, you can't be like, what if I punch this dude and then he pulls out a gun? You want to end this shit. You want it done before he can be like, okay, second strategy. So, again, take a step back with your whatever foot you like. It doesn't matter. If you have a weapon, I suggest you keep your dominant foot forward because you're going to want that reach. If you're empty-handed or with the highlighter, something small, I say dominant foot backward because you're going to be, this will be your blocking, whatever, if you need it. So you keep your less dominant hand for blocking, your other one for striking. Okay, make yourself a small target. So if I come in at Krista like that, and you go, whoa. So if I'm coming in, so let's say, now keep in mind, doing this will keep most people back. You get a grip on whatever you're holding. That'll make them think twice. So you probably don't ever want to be able to let them get here. So, but if someone does lay their hands on you, they grab your shirt or they start choking you or whatever the case may be, it's true crime related stuff. Like a lot of people get choked. And I imagine, I've never been choked. I don't plan to choke anybody out, but I imagine if if I were to get choked, you would imagine, oh yeah, so you start fighting to get their hands off. Now, if they're stronger than you, sorry, like if someone my size met someone Krista's size in like an alley or a bar, and they were like, hey, I got some pills in the back of my car, and we go out there, like it's over because
free candy.
You're gonna, if you freak out and try and struggle, that thing that you're it's a bit like if some dude is, I'm not a big dude, some big dude comes and starts choking me, I'm not gonna be able to get out of it. So don't focus on that because you've got so little time. Like if they have cut off your airway, or if they have grabbed your shirt, or they have got you bodily, you've got so little time before they can come in and do a whole bunch of shit. So, but true crime, let's stick with the choking. So someone's choking you, your hands are up, but somehow they got in. Now, they're probably not going to be choking you at full arm length.
Probably
because you're, whatever, even if you're an idiot murderer, you find by trial and error, when you're close, you have a lot of power. So they're probably going to be here. So don't focus on what's happening here. You've got so little time. Like if he gets like whatever, you're carotid, you're out soon. So don't waste your time and energy up here.
Yeah, they have their whole body
This is
vulnerable.
Here. Yeah. Take a second, be like, oh my God, this guy's choking me, hands up. I'm in here, but now all of my hands done. No, I wouldn't do that. All of this.
Oh yeah, I guess.
I don't like, and here's the thing that everybody will say. Well, what about that guy that's on PCP, that you could break all of his legs? That's always the extreme case that everybody goes to. Where are you hanging out where that's happening? Number one. And number two, like dudes doing like crazy shit on PCP are going to be like, whatever. They're going to be on the news. You're not going to be patient zero where the dude slams PCP where you're in the laundromat and you're his first victim. So don't be paranoid. Just be alert. So whatever. If I've got my hands on her neck and I'm like, close your hand right around that motherfucker. Aim for the eyes. Like you're going to do your basic, like we were warming up, your hammer strikes. So, and like, let's say, you can't get over to the other side. Just stick here. Like if I'm choking you, no matter my resolve to get someone dead, if they're smashing my eye into a jelly,
That'll be distracting.
Yeah, and like all these bones are nice and fragile, and this thing, it doesn't like hit your hip bone. Like, can you hear that? It hurts, and I'm barely tapping. Like this has less of everything. You can hit their nose. That's a huge target on me. Like just, like don't. I guess so the overarching theme of that is like, if something happens, prepare. That's why we're training, because somebody's going to do something and you're going to freak out. They'll grab your shirt. So the overarching theme of this demonstration is like, don't get married to an idea of how you're going to get out of a situation. Like I spent a lot of time in martial arts, and it was whatever, a lot of gatekeeping, a lot of structure, and when you're a kid, that's great. But when you're an adult, you have to start defending yourself. You can't be like, well, if I'm grabbed by the shoulder like this, then I'll move and trap and do like you don't have fucking time for that. Like if you're facing, like if I'm an attacker, I'm facing this way. Nobody. There's so many books and movies and material that I studied going through all the martial arts where I was like, this is never fucking going to happen. I realized, well, you do it because you want that repetition, and it's yada, 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 strengthening joints or whatever, and you can adapt them. But in all the books where I've seen a big man, and the photo looks exactly like this, never in real life. Like, this is a fucking 1860s, like, circus promo postcard. Like, nobody does that. So, what do you, like, the more you learn, like, if you want to get into martial arts or whatever, self-defense, learn the techniques, but when you bring them into a real life situation, you start thinking a real life situation, don't be fancy. You're not here to impress anybody. You're here to fucking stay alive. So without any training, have somebody just rest their hands on your shoulders and see where you can reach. And I'm going to try and be as rigid as I can. So you're going to want to be, remember, so when you strike, your hands are up like this, and they're choking you. You got your highlighter. You're going to come down, boom, across the face. Now, another important thing is you're going to have to look at where you're hitting, which is going to freak a lot of people out. Because you don't want to look, and you don't want to, fighting is weird and it's scary. So, like, training with a person will help, is what I'm getting at. Because you want to look at their face, look, and see where you're going to hit. Because if you're just striking aimlessly, you may get some muscle or whatever. Like if you're just punching and staring into the middle distance or looking off at Pluto and you're practicing doing your katas or whatever, look and think. So when you pick up your highlighter, Kayla, if you're doing this with somebody, you have them do this. Say, whoa, get your hands up. Like, I've already touched you and you haven't got your hands up. Huh. So you think, here. Like, I don't care how, whatever. Use your jacked up dude scenario. He's on PCP and then he went to a meth factory and now he's huffing glue and he's nothing but chemicals and he's somehow finding his way to you. All the chemicals in the world will not make his eyes impervious.
Right.
To something like this, to a Sharpie, to like whatever, pocket protector, bam, 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 bam. Just have something that will focus your blow, because unless you've worked and you know how to strike real hard, you know how to turn your body when you're getting choked, or know how to get out of it, you're gonna panic and your technique's gonna go out the window unless you train. In the meantime, you don't need a whole lot of technique to focus all of your power into the end of the Sharpie. Boom, boom, boom. Just aim for the eye, aim for the nose. It's like a shark. Like attackers, anybody, they're like fucking wild animals. If a dog comes at you, you would poke it in the eye because they can't see you. They can't kill you. They can't bite you. They can't touch you. So even your 700-pound, hopped up on goofballs rhinoceros, boop, boop. You can be as angry as you want for as long as you want. If you can't see me, I back away slowly and I say, 911, there's a blind, crazy person out here, and he might be on goofballs or whatever. So let's check in with the chat, see what's going on.
Okay.
Situational awareness.
And they were just listening.
9 times out of 10. So here, while that's happening, I'll show you talk to you about some notes I have. So situational awareness, look around. I'll tell you a story. I mentioned that earlier. I'll tell it later. So you don't want to be afraid. You want to be prepared. Here's the thing. I started doing karate in 3rd grade. Just Riggs ass, Karate Kid, wide stance, hard blocks and that shit, karate, 3rd grade on. And 5th grade, there was one of those festivals for kids. There was a craft fair or whatever, and the 2 bullies of my school decided that this was the night they wanted to, I don't know what they wanted to do, but they were chasing us. 2 dudes, me and my buddy, and we were running, man. And keep in mind, from 3rd grade to 5th grade, I had been taking karate. I was a brown belt when this story occurred. I was a brown belt in short rear karate. So these dudes are chasing us. God knows for what. They're bigger than us, they're stronger than us, and they're scary, and they're the bullies of the school. And I'm running. So finally I've had enough. I get, now, and this is, keep in mind, fucking people all over the place. No one's paying attention to us. Super frightening to be pursued by someone who doesn't know, you don't know what they're going to do to you, and everybody is like, we don't give a fuck. But I was a kid, so who cares? Moral of the story is, I could have been in a fight. I could have. Because I finally had enough. I was getting gassed, I knew if I couldn't run anymore, these guys were gonna fucking kick my ass. So I said, fuck it. I got in my stance. I was like, this is it, man. Fucking dude does this. He must have watched a Karate Kid movie. He goes, "Huh." He does a spin kick backwards twice. I was like, fuck. And I ran some more. Now I know that kick is completely retarded. Like, you would never use that in a fighting scenario. He just watched a Kung Fu movie, but he was able to get inside my head. But keep in mind, I'd also been running from him for like 20 minutes. So whatever, took off. They split us up. I don't see my friend again that night. He shows up to school the next day, huge black eye. Luckily, I was fast as fuck. Boy, they caught him, and I don't know what else they did to him, because I was like, what happened? He's like, don't worry about it. It was fucked.
Wow.
So, low stakes scenario. I was surrounded by people. I should have been the most confident person in the world. My parents were at this thing. I had been studying karate for 2 years and was a brown belt. And when I fucking got my ass into my stance, I ran my ass away. So, prepare. That's another thing that my teacher back then, nobody will tell you, like, it's scary. It's a fucking scary thing, but you have to prepare. Like, if someone's coming at you, you protect yourself. We don't care about them. That was another thing I was worried about. Like, if I kicked this dude's ass, because I was a brown belt.
Are you going to get in trouble?
Yes. That's another part of it. It's like you want to defend yourself, but you don't get in trouble. Forget about all that shit. Like, if someone comes at you and it's all a big misunderstanding, fine. But if someone's coming at you and it's danger, I want you coming out of that scenario. Got it? Like, whatever. Whoever wants to come at you, I don't want you to be the victim of any crime or anything because you look like a victim. So don't be afraid. Be prepared. Situational awareness. Like, dudes who are out to pick a fight or fuck with people for no reason, which doesn't happen a lot. But when they do, they look for people who are like, ooh, like timid or slouched or looking at their phone or scared. Everywhere I walk, even if I don't feel it, I keep my back straight as a fucking arrow and I keep my eyes on the swivel. Because even if I don't feel confident, someone looks at me and they look at me looking at everything around them, they're going to say, pass. They're going to look for someone who's reading a book or looking at their phone or is spooked by the world. So, you know, that situational awareness comes with, like, just stand up straight and look like confident and people will fucking leave you alone. So, moving on, it is stick time.
Stick time.
So, I want to do some of these stick exercises. So these, you know, if you listen to the podcast, I sort of mentioned the dynamic of what's going on. So these are simply a dowel. So here it is. This is a bow staff. It costs $6 at Home Depot. It's pine. It's not a hardwood. Here's the thing. It's practice. It's garbage. I bought 4 of these. I made 3 sets of Eskrima sticks, and I got 2 staffs. So whatever, we can do staff stuff or something later. But you got a couple of sticks. Sticks are everywhere. Whatever. Everything that you learn for every weapon is almost always transferable to literally every other weapon. So if you learn how to fight with a stick, you can fight with a nunchuck, you can fight with a sword. Like, because think about it, what weapon doesn't have a handle that you fucking swing at somebody? Or if you want to get fancy, it'll be long enough to have 2 hands on it at once. It'll be the same shit. So I hope you have a stick. If you don't, get like your paper towel.
Stick time. Get your
gift wrap
thingamajig.
So Krista, get your stick. So if you want to know like the proper name of the things that we'll be doing, like this, technically, if you want to get like into all the jargon, in Filipino martial arts, they're called Eskrima sticks, or stick fighting. They're called Kali sticks, whatever. And it's, if you go down a rabbit hole, whatever, you will. But you want them to be like as long as your arm, essentially, so you're doubling your reach. This is a little shorter, obviously. And I painted mine show colors. But if you had just one stick, I didn't want to like overburden everybody. So just the one. So we're just going to start warming up your wrist. So I'll also maybe show you how to. Ooh.
Kayla says, I just remembered I have a set of juggling sticks. Those would be great for this.
I've got whatever here. So look, I'm using a ruler. So like the moral of this story is you want to keep your hand closed and you're just making a circle. What this is doing is as you keep your fingers closed, even if you're not holding a big stick or just a ruler, or if you got your Sharpie still and your highlighter, it's going to be increasing the flexibility, bringing blood into your wrists and everything. And you can turn it the other way. Kind of feel it. I'm going to turn your hand over and you make another circle. I feel like I should be holding my stick because I painted it. You can see this big, exaggerated. My fingers are never, because a lot of people want to do this and sort of open their hands.
That's what I usually do.
And for competitions and stuff, to be flashy or whatever, like, you know, that type of grip is fine. We ain't going to be flashy. We're looking to save our lives.
We're beginners.
Well, no, this is beyond beginner. You don't want to open your hand ever. Like a master would not be like, now I can use 2 fingers. They use all their fucking fingers because that's where your power is. So switch hands. We'll do the outside. Nice big outward circles, and you can feel it right in the tendons of your arm here. If you're doing it right, because you just want to sort of make a nice big circle to go too fast necessarily. Because it's in the wrong hand.
Well, no, I started in my left hand.
Oh. Well, then you still be doing outside. Unbelievable. That's why. Coordinate. And then switch, whatever. Yeah. If you get a nice, this isn't even a very heavy stick. So like I was saying, it's pine. Probably weighs like 8 ounces.
Yeah, it's.
But these things blew my arms apart. Like I was like, oh man, I'm so bummed. These are so light. Oh well, I'll train with them anyway. And I wake up I didn't wake up the next day. I put the sticks down. I gotta take my son to bed. So he's asleep. I'm like, now it's time to transfer him to the crib. As usual, get ready to lift, and I go, I barely, within an inch of my life, I made it to the crib with it because my arms, and then I just fell to the ground and I stopped. Anyway, whatever. So now that your wrists are all warmed up, we're going to be doing, all right, we'll do, what would be the, let's just do the, go ahead. So there's 7, we'll do the 7 strikes. So with your stick, now, when you hold your stick, you're going to leave a few inches on this end. So that 2 or 3 inches, however, whatever. Just don't be like too much because you don't want it coming back and hitting you or binding you up. You want just enough so that if you do, someone gets in too close or whatever and you can't hit them with the long end, you got this. Boom, remember the highlighter? It's the same shit. Can you believe that?
Oh my
like,
God.
If I were to hit someone with this, and with this would hurt obviously more,
Well.
but this ain't going to fit in your pocket. You can't get it for free from work. So, I gotta say. So, when you have a weapon, or at least with stick fighting, I shouldn't say every weapon. Keep in mind also, I'm not an expert. I did martial arts 12 years, but I did like 17 different styles. I went from karate to tai chi to kempo to kung fu to ninjutsu and some other stuff in between, whatever. Workshops and shit, they don't count. I met Jet Li's brother.
Oh.
Not his real brother, though, come to find out.
Oh.
He was built up. He owns a martial arts supply warehouse here in Phoenix. So my trainer at the time, sensei, he's like, oh, he's Tai Chi certified by Jin Hung Lee, Jet Li's brother.
Ooh.
Turns out they just studied at the same place, and they just coincidentally had the last name Lee. But he did look like Jet Li, and I thought, am I racist? Couldn't tell. It was a long time ago. Anyway, so you're going to use your dominant hand and your dominant foot forward. So, Krista, you're left-handed.
Right.
So, this hand's always up in guard. And since we have a stick in this hand, you say, well, Dave, if you want to guard, why not have this and like have your dominant hand back and fight by... Here's the thing. Let's say they have a stick too, or they have a knife, or they have anything other than just their hands, and they come at you. Do you want this to block it? or do you want this to block it? So, dominant hand with the stick forward. So, like, here's all your typical guard, even with no weapon. That's how your hands are. You put a stick in it, it's the same damn thing. So, what you're gonna do is, new people are gonna have a tendency to do this, to go big. Whoosh, whoosh, this big X. So this is your strikes 1, boom, and strike 2, boom. Back up. So, just sort of move through the X, drawing an X in front of your body at first. Sort of getting the feel of your stick, your tube, your ruler, your whatever you got in your hand. But you're sort of drawing it right in front of you. So the point of this exercise is to get a little faster each time, but also make your X a little tighter. So it's supposed to look at it real quick. So when I first, when I cut these sticks, and I was like, time to do some shit. And I was like, woo, flying all around. That's going to happen. Like, I have, my shoulders are covered in bruises and my legs are covered in scratches. So go slow. Even if you feel cocky like me, and I know you will. Everybody wants to go really fast. You're going to hit yourself in the head, and Krista saw the bruises, whatever. You're going to do it. But I'm saying it'll help if you start slow. So when you're drawing this X, see how it's real tight? Boom. What you're hitting is temple to jaw. You're coming through. 1, 2. 1, 2. With your dominant hand and foot forward. 1, 2. When you're striking, I want you to put a little bit of your, it's going to be confusing because I'm going to say not to do big swings. And I'm going to say use your hip and your shoulder, and you're going to want to really go into it. Just a little bit. Right? So you're going to turn, and as you're coming down, turn. So not only you're making yourself a smaller target, bam. Nice, short, tight angle. Then, same thing, turn back, boom. Still a pretty small target, but that extra oomph will give you stopping power, number 1, but also if, Krista, let's say you do get in a situation where they've got a stick or you got your stick and they don't have a shit, but you haven't trained enough yet, and you're like, haha, I've got a stick, so I'm invincible. So, I'll do it. Hey, Krista, let's say you're going to hit me, but you go wide. Like, you go, like, because everybody in the movies, TV, everybody throws a punch like this. And they give you a fucking 9 seconds of lead up. So if you're going, so Krista, do a nice big swing. If I know anything about anything, I am in here and, whatever. So, and that's why I'll say this too. So everybody's like, baseball bat. Everybody's got a baseball bat. It's the movies. You see a guy, oh man. Here's the thing. The weight balance on this, shoot really fast. Like, this isn't for hitting a ball. This is for hitting a dude or an animal or whatever. For hitting a ball. So your pivot point's at your wrist. So when you hit, not only is it taking forever because you have to pull back
The whole swing. Yeah.
But not only that, like, let's say I am going to swing, like here, Krista. Like, this is a tough guy on the street, and you're going to be like, oh, fuck this. I'm not only, like, like, look at all this. All I got to do, whoop, is twist, and it's gone. Like, actually, I'm joking.
No, I haven't.
Yeah, like, so if this were a real life situation, like, I would grab it, and I would twist, and I would, like, hit her in the whatever. But it's only because this thing is a huge swing, and your break point's right there.
It's so heavy.
So,
for me.
like, it's heavy for everybody. Even like light bats, you're still gonna have to like really
amp yourself up for it.
It's unwieldy, but everybody loves them. My personal opinion is those may hit harder, but
it may not hit at all.
Yeah, if it doesn't hit at all, I don't care if you have a fucking howitzer sitting in your backyard. If you don't know how to aim that thing, you could blow your own head off with it. Or like, whatever. Like, let's say, I don't want to get into it. I don't want to get into it. Anyway, whatever. Just practice. I hope you've been practicing a lot with jabbering. So your dominant hand and foot forward, hand up in guard, and also for striking.
Marcus says, I'm witnessing an assault on live stream. Should I call 911?
It's wherever your local operators are. All right, so just you know, I'm gonna repeat those 2 strikes. Boom, just nice and tight, right in front of your body. You're imagining someone about your height, where your eyes are, and you're striking from their outer temple to the chin when you're coming through. Boom, that's what you're aiming for, is a nice X pattern straight across the face.
I'll read 911. Okay, listen.
Yeah. Again here, 40 years.
In short shorts.
So yeah, just nice and smooth, slow, just bring it through. And then obviously we're doing this indoors. I would recommend doing it outdoors. When you do it like super fast.
Yeah. And not in a room that we're this close together.
Yeah, but that's the thing. So you have to tighten up that X, boom, boom, boom. So yeah, whatever, just practice, 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 practice. And that's another thing I never wanted to do as a kid, practice. As a kid or whatever, I say, okay, here's how you do this move, whatever move. Like I would raise my hand and say, when can we do the back kick? When can we do the flip kick? When can we do the spinning back kick? He's like, yeah. What he should have said was, when are you gonna fucking use those? Never.
Yeah.
Okay, so here's another exercise that it doesn't look like it will do jack shit for you, but trust me, it will. So if you have your stick, I want you to grab it in the middle, just turn it like that. It may not feel like much, like this, again, 8 ounces maybe, 8 ounces, this is not hardwood. It's just doing this, 30 seconds, maybe a minute, do it while you're watching TV.
But you can feel it.
Yeah, you can feel it. Like it'll burn, my friends. Like even if I were doing it with a ruler, get a broomstick, whatever. Everybody's got a. Here's the great thing about sticks. They're fucking everywhere. I know I said that and I had to buy this one because I didn't have a stick lantern in the house. But when you go into the world, they're everywhere. So you want to give a nice firm grip. Make your wrist sort of like a rubber band. When it hits the one, you're just sort of using that momentum to go back and forth. But nice tight wrist. You can feel your forearms on the outside here. Maybe do it out to the side. This is also going to work shoulders. You say, well, this isn't much of a self-defense tool, but here's the thing. What happens, like everybody's biggest fear when you're carrying a weapon or whatever, like gun owners I'm sure have the same thing, is having whatever they are holding ripped from them. Whatever you have in your hand ripped from you, whatever. This will give you a really strong grip because you're working all of these muscles. And the bounciness makes, like, depending on how fast you do it or whatever, will also strengthen your tendons and stuff. So, within a couple of days, like, my hands kill, but I can feel they're stronger, if that makes sense. Because I've got one of those.
I was going to ask you about those exercise.
Yeah, I got one
springs.
At work, and I just like, because it was annoying, and I wore too many rings most of the time, and it doesn't fit. But I found it, like, whatever, like yesterday, after doing all this stuff, and I was like, whoa. So I don't know if it just got old and it's shitty now, but anecdotally, my wrists and forearms feel stronger. So do it to your sides, do it to the front, spend $6, buy a stick, cut it into a bunch of pieces. So and also the rule of thumb for like your stick, like I said, it's from, whatever. Mine are a little short for me, but I've got super long arms. Basically, you want it from your middle finger to here. I cut these at 26. They probably should be at 28, but they're kind of like 24, 26, and 28. Now, if you want, whatever, once this, because this will break eventually. These are not going to last. If you want to get some good, like, rattan ones, they're like $10 a pair. I had some for a million years. God knows where they are now, but they never broke. So if, you're like me and you want to go to 11 and get like the fancy aluminum ones with all the bedazzled shit on them, fine. But the rattan ones hurt, and they are good. I know they hurt because back in the day, I got hit with them a lot, man. Even this hurts. Like, this is soft. Even like hitting them together, you can see all the dents. But you're just, Like, whatever. This is taking the abuse, not you. Oh, like if someone's going to hit you or punch you or whatever, this is going to take all the abuse. So if you break it, who gives a shit? They still make sticks. It's the greatest thing. So here's the story. We went to some outdoor mall. Where the hell was it? Was it the Anthem one? We went to an outlet. But in preparation for this video, I was thinking, like, how can I like bring an example of like where you would find something to fight with or defend yourself with or whatever in real life. So we went to this outdoor outlet mall, and like whatever, you probably saw it too, every 30 feet or so, they had little things on the wall. They had those collapsible like tripod floors wet signs.
Oh, yeah.
So it's 3 metal sticks about this size with some fucking whatever, nylon or whatever the sign was made of, just cheap shit. I was thinking, all you would have to do, like someone comes up, starts hassling you or whatever, like there it is on the wall, shoop, it's about this size, there's 3 of them in steel. If you break it on a dude's head, who cares? You'd be like, oh, sorry, I'll buy you a new one, and it was a misunderstanding. Or better yet, they were actually coming to get you, and you just saved yourself. So just, again, situational awareness. I was looking around being like, even though it was dead, I still like looking around and playing these little scenarios. But I don't want to be like, if a terrorist, where would I keep a grenade launcher? Just be like, aware. Don't be a weirdo, guys. Don't be fucking weird is what I'm getting at. All these people get into this shit, and I'm starting to get that way, and I'm noticing that, and I'm going to stop it. Because you want to be. I'm the guy who carries these around the house.
Huh?
I'm just, everywhere I go, everywhere. And
He follows Elliot around the house doing it.
you have to, because if you don't train, you don't learn. But I'm in the comfort of my own home, number one. Number two, the longer you have these things or whatever you're going to use in your hand, the bullshit excuse for it is you're becoming connected to the weapon. Like you
are one.
Your chi is going into the weapon, and the chi of the energy of the weapon is coming into you, and you're sort of synergized. Bullshit.
You're one with
whatever.
the earth.
If you want to believe that, fine. Like, I don't care. I used to do that shit, be like, oh, because I had my Aikido Jitsu teacher. He was like, this felt like the stupidest thing in the world, but at the time I was like, interesting. He said, before an exam, I often tell students to sleep with the textbook on their bed or near the touching, because then they can transfer the energy and the knowledge of all. I was like, that might have been the tipping point. I was like, that sounds stupid. But like for my entire childhood, because you're being told by these adults, like, hold on to your stuff, practice with your stuff, you get this connection with it. That's not it. Or if it is, I'm not going to give it that credit. What I'm going to say is, the longer they are in your hands, the more you are aware of them and where they are, they become an extension of your body. So it's not like, I'm connected to these sticks, dude. It's like, no, my brain finally realizes the exact size of these, and I can walk around the house now without smashing myself in the shins or hitting myself in the head or the wall. And that you go, whoa, whoop these shit. Now you can walk around without hitting yourself in the head. It's another step towards, if someone comes at me, I won't be like, ah! Like, the more you spatially aware, like I move Elliot's toys around with them, they're like giant chopsticks. The more time you spend with something, the more familiar you are with that thing. And since a stick is literally fucking everything, why not? Because check this shit out. I was going through all my old stuff. I found my old Ninja Turtle, well, some of my old Ninja Turtle weapons. I couldn't find my nunchucks. I found my old size. And what are these? What do they look like if I were to, just because you got a couple of things that will protect your hand doesn't mean shit. So when I take these out, these things weigh like 2 pounds a piece. So now, if I'm doing this, it's whatever. You can use pieces of pipe. It doesn't matter. What I'm saying is, free to train. Get a couple of rulers. I was thinking about doing like 2 yardsticks. And then I thought, wouldn't it be cool if like you went into a Joanne Fabrics and shit went down. And like these little grannies came out from behind the cutting counter with their, like, it would be like a Kill Bill style thing where like the yardsticks, but they would have like steel and like, Asian dragon filigree, and they're like, oh, not in my watch, and they're like, scissors and stuff, and they're pin cushions. It would be an amazing action movie. We'll talk about that later.
$1 million idea.
$1 million idea. So, you do this a whole bunch. I want you to do this a whole bunch, this a whole bunch. Go all your range of motion doing this. Do it whenever. Get yourself a stick like this. You know what? If you're desperate, it's about the same size as a plunger. Pull that head off there, or keep it on. If you put it, like, not for nothing, but if someone breaks into the house, or if I were breaking into a house, somebody was like holding a stick that was this thick and had a plunger on it, it's gonna hurt and have turds.
Gross.
But you can, here's the great thing. Accentuate it how you want. You can see I painted mine with show colors. Put a thing on there, get some ribbon, whatever. You can do whatever you want. Great thing about you. You, do you. Anyway,
You do you.
let's go back to our 1 and 2 strikes. You want to keep, step that way a little bit, Krista, and also put your hand up in guard. So you want to keep it nice and tight. So when you're coming up on this side to make your next strike, or you're coming up on this side, as close to your body as possible. So not only is this going to make you faster, stronger, and it's going to make your grip tighter, but let's say you are out in the real world, even if, and this is a great chance they won't, like even if they don't get inside your defense from this huge swing, who's to say there's not a tree right there, or there's a fire hydrant you weren't paying attention to, and so you go big, clunk, and there you are on that pine tree with your hand in the air, your face in their face, and then bam! So tight, tight, tight. You don't want to make any extra movement than what you have to, because you're defending yourself, and they don't, they're coming at you, so they're going to do whatever they can, theoretically. So you want to spend as little energy on this fight as possible. Another thing too, when you get into it, you're like, oh, time for a street fight, and you think, oh, I'm going to be a badass. No, street fighting is dirty. Fighting sucks. I've seen a ton of fights. Almost was in one, remember? Seen a ton of fights. They suck. Even between like practitioners and stuff, it gets dirty. Like you start out with the best of intentions, sparring with a classmate or a teacher or whoever. But eventually you're like, I want this over. So you cut to the quick. So you're going to defend yourself. You're not going to be like, okay, first 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, blah, blah, blah. No, you want boom, boom, and get the f out of there. You don't want to be around. Because, like, the longer they're up, able to see you, hear you, hurt you, that's more time you're going to have to keep fighting it. And, like, even if you don't want to be, like, pacifist, or you don't want to, whatever your reason is, look at it like this even. If you're lazy and you don't want to be, like, I'm a busy guy. If I got someplace to go and someone wants to get in my ass about something, and I have to fight him, I don't want to be like, great, here's 20 minutes. Bam, 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 bam. I want to be like, boom, boom, do whatever. Move on.
Bye.
Bam, bam. So, yeah, okay. Talk too much. Not train enough. Here's your 1 and 2 angles. Keep it nice and tight. You're going to have a little bit on the end. Keep your wrist nice and loose, but your fingers closed. You want all that power from those fingers on that stick. So now, after you get on this for a while, boom, 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 1, 2. Now we're going to add 3 and 4. So slow it down. 1, 2. Your hand down here. You're going to turn your wrist out. Oops. Up. 3. 1, 2. Turn your wrists out, up. So when 1 and 2 is from the forehead to the jaw, guess what 3 and 4 are? It's the reverse. So you're going to jaw to head, or it could be whatever. I'm not going to complicate it right now. Jaw to head. Boom, boom. So you go 1, 2, nice tight strikes. Wrist out, still tight. 3, 4. He's always up in guard. So you do that, and they want to come in. No, hands always up. 1, 2, 3, 4. Go ahead, Krista. Take a drink.
1, 2, 3, 4.
So, Krista, watch yourself in the monitor. I want you to see. So, boom, tight strike, but you still want your shoulder to turn. Boom. So when your power is always going to come kinetically through your body, connected to the earth via your heel. So when you turn, and your feet are planted, that force will travel up your legs, through your hip, which pushes your shoulder, which pushes this into some motherfucker's face and keeps him off your groceries, your medicine, or whatever he's coming for. He says, give me your groceries, lady. You say, no! Use your hip, your shoulder when you turn. Boom, 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 boom. Give it a little oomph, not a whole lot, because obviously, remember, I have to make huge sweeping strikes. Boom, boom. And 9 times out of 10, just seeing this will make someone get the fuck out of your face. But what are the odds you're going to have a stick in real life? Fighting? Well, I'd like to say that this, yeah, sure, well, I'm not going to be like, belt loop here, now we're off to the mall. And I go, is that a sale on jeans? No.
Stick it down your pants so that you walk funny.
But with all of the stuff you practice, like say whatever, one day you do want to get, I have 3 of these things, by the way. I keep a tactical pen. Keep one in my studio, keep one in my jeans pocket, and one in a jacket. It's right there. All you gotta do. So when you practice with your stick, master the stick, you've mastered the pen, you mastered the Sharpie, you mastered the sword, whatever. If you can swing something, you can, whatever, you can defend yourself. But you, again, situational awareness, and don't be a victim. If someone wants to fuck with you, don't be like, yeah, you don't care about their feelings. Like, again, we'll bring it back to true crime, because I feel like we haven't brought that up in a while. Like, if I snap, if Krista snaps, I don't want her to ask any questions. Like, if I'm going crazy and she's in danger, she needs to take me out, or whoever comes in this house, or anyone out there in the street, because you don't know. There are so many true crime stories where it's like the son went crazy, or this dude who told this guy to fuck off once 7 years ago held a grudge, and now he planned something for a whole lot of time. Like, it's insane. But don't get paranoid.
You can't predict the future.
You can't predict, but be prepared. I'm saying is like always keep your head on a swivel. If you got a friend that may be weird, or you got a family member that's weird, like it. What I'm gonna, I guess the point of that is, if you feel uncomfortable with anybody at any time, trust that. People
go with your gut.
Yeah, people will put aside feelings of dread or anxiety or stress or fear because they say, well, you've got XYZ relationship. If you feel uncomfortable, say, be nice if you want to, but say, I got to get out of here, at least for right now. Shit's fucked. This is weird. I don't feel comfortable. That way, all situations are averted. You don't have to defend yourself from a murderer. You don't have to be an attempted murder. You say, this is weird. I'm out of here. Woo! So be aware of yourself, be comfortable with who you are, and don't let people fuck with you. Don't let someone who shouts at you get inside your head. If they want to come at you, you have the right to keep this intact. So whatever, like, someone's coming at you, get in that mindset. You want to come at me, you will pay the price. So I wouldn't, and I always tell people, when I was doing martial arts, doing Tai Chi, teaching whatever. I taught so many kids, the bow staff and stuff, back in the day, obviously. You always say, I don't want to fight. I love the martial arts, but I do not want to punch anybody. I don't want to hit anybody with this. I don't want to hit anybody with a stick because it looks like it hurts. And if I'm the one doing it, it makes me uncomfortable. I don't want to hit people.
Yeah.
But the way I get myself there is I think, okay, well, if I'm in a dark alley and someone wants to shiv me, I'll try my hardest, but if they want to kill me, they're probably going to kill me. But then I'm like thinking, well, what if I got my kid and my wife with me? And I was like, okay, that's when it switches on to 11. And I think, okay, if it's me in an alleyway and I find a stick, I'm gonna be like, don't, as hard as I can in the moment. But like, you get something to fight for. I don't care what it is. If you don't have a wife and kid or whatever, make it a family member, make it something. But imagine that thing being taken from you by whoever, and it'll switch it on. Because we'll have a bad opinion of ourselves more often than not. But we'll kill ourselves or let ourselves get killed for the people we love. Maybe that's what I was missing as a child, because I didn't have anybody to protect. As a fourth grader, I'm like, whatever. If someone wants to kick my ass, they probably can, because I'm a nerd, so I deserve it. But this might be an epiphany. If you put, whatever, even if you're like one of those selfish assholes, you're like, not my car, bitch, like whatever. As long as you put it above yourself so that you're willing to fight for it instead of just lay down and take it, do that shit. Like, I don't even care if maybe you're alone and the person you love is a million miles away and they'll never be hurt by the person looking at you and being angry at you. Pretend like they will. Because then you'll be like, don't you talk about my friend or whatever. Because you'll protect a friend. You'll protect a loved one. But people will, no, don't hurt me. Like, I'm not worthy. You are. And until you realize that, pretend like you're doing it for somebody else. My opinion. You find somebody else on the internet saying I'm a fucking idiot, but whatever. So, did I have any more stories? What are my notes? Told my fight story. Does anybody here want to hear a crappy story about a metaphor?
Everybody likes a good metaphor, I feel.
It's not even a metaphor. It's a story about one.
Everybody likes a good story about a metaphor.
Okay, so here's the thing.
Adam says do a flip.
I can't do a flip. Listen, Adam, it took me 4 days to do this.
Do a barrel roll.
Do a barrel roll. Like, whatever. So, I'm sure in the moment my teacher at the time thought this was meaningful, but and all martial arts teachers seem to do this. They have fables or something they pull to be like, now did you learn a lesson? So I'm gonna tell you a short story. Well, let's pick. There's 3 of them I can go to, but I'll do the one that I think is most apt. So, a young man was training for the Olympic swimming team. Ooh. He was rich, thank God, right? So he had access to like the best trainers, the best pool. It was crystal clear, always the perfect temperature. All of his kiss-ass coaches were like lemonade, and he was like, oh, whoa, going to be the best swimmer in the world because it was everything money could buy. The Olympics come, he's been training under these perfect conditions. He's got his cap on, he's got his nose plugs in, he's ready to jump in that water, and he's getting ready. They go, whatever, they shoot a gun or they blow a whistle, whatever they do to make you go. Everybody jumps in. The water is cold. So our dude freezes because he's never jumped into cold water before. He'd been training in a perfectly, contained and managed set of circumstances. The perfect water temperature. He had everything that money could buy except for fucking real life experience. And that's what my teacher left out. He said, once he got in that cold pool, he didn't know what to do. Now, do you know what I'm talking about? Once you get to real life, things are different. I was like, kind of? And he's like, great, moving on. So what you do is you tell that story, that metaphor, you break it down. You can get yourself, like, I could turn this place into a dojo. The FFOP dojo, Dojo P. I could get the body bags. I could get all like the banana bags and the shit. Like, whatever. I could go into massive debt and turn this place into a dojo and just be like, yeah, I'm the world's greatest YouTube stick fighter. But unless I've got my head in the game and I know that things aren't going to be, like, when I go outside, it won't be in a nice air-conditioned place. And the dude who is attacking me won't be exactly my height with no arms and will just stand there doing jack shit.
Or me.
Or you. Or Crystal, who just stands there going, we're working on the confidence thing. However, like, people in real life, they fluster you. They get in your face. No matter how you think in your head, I'll react this way. That's fine. Like, we're friends, all of us here, right? But if I got into your face all of a sudden, I was like, fuck you, bitch, and I was seconds and inches from your face and up in, you would freeze because you're like, whoa, what the fuck? Now, I'm not saying I would do that, but it would be just as jarring if a stranger does it.
Mm-hmm.
More so even, because there wouldn't be that rapid shift of like, hey, we're friends, so like, now I'm going to fuck you up. Like, whatever, if someone's going to come at you, I would hope, number one, you see it coming and can't avoid it. No need for self-defense. No need to scare yourself into actually hitting someone. Keep your eyes open. But if it's unavoidable, and will it ever be unavoidable? I don't know. I've never, like I said, I've been alive almost 40 years and took tons of martial arts and was almost in one fight. So all these dudes who are like, watch out for the dudes out there no Krav Maga or whatever, like, don't live in a world of what ifs. If you want to prepare for the dude who's riding the H train and it's like the Incredible Hulk on, glass, and he's already taken 400 cannonballs to the dick, and he's just a skeleton that's somehow being driven by these drugs, and now you have to fight him. Great, prepare for that. In reality, you're probably not going to have to defend yourself, but if you do, I want you to, and that's why we're here. Let me check my notes. Don't fuck with people unnecessarily. That's a good one. So that goes back to the true crime thing. So I just watched this. I think it was not, okay, Scott something, whatever. Like, he had a job, took 3 monitors from his job. Boss fired him, and he was a lawyer, so they sued him and got him disbarred and like ruined this guy's life over 3 computer monitors.
Wow.
Why I'm saying don't fuck with people unnecessarily is because these 2 dudes fucked with this dude over 3 monitors and then later got murdered by that dude, because when you fuck with someone, you don't know if they're nuts. So not only am I saying don't fuck with people unnecessarily, just be nice to each other. Okay. Yeah, I'm glad I looked at this. So I had an idea that maybe somebody already came up with, and I told Krista. Let's say you don't want to, let's say you're a diehard pacifist, or you're too afraid to fight, or whatever the case may be, you don't feel ready. This is a brilliant thing that I thought of. If you feel uncomfortable, and you've got a phone, which I know you fucking do, pull your phone out, go live on Facebook, go live on Twitter, go live literally anywhere. I don't give a fuck. Start recording whatever you're fucking doing live if you feel uncomfortable. Someone will be watching. One of your friends will get a ding, and they'll look. And you can be like, hey, everybody, I'm walking through a fucking parking lot. I'm scared, and so you're here to protect my ass. So if someone comes out of the dark, you point that camera at their face. You're too scared to fight them. At least somebody will be able to see what's happening to you on that phone.
Good idea.
I don't know if anybody's ever done that or if anybody's ever thought of that, but and there was a true crime case that made me think of it, but I don't remember. Oh, when remember when Portland was a war zone? So whatever, like somewhere in Washington, maybe it was Seattle, maybe it was Portland, I forget. I'm an idiot, so that's why. But it was like a crazy militarized zone, and some blogger snuck in while on like Twitter Live or something. So he's in there and he's like, this shit's fucking crazy. And he's like, check this out. He's got his phone everywhere. And this dude with a gun comes and he's like, get the fuck out of here, and kicks it and takes his phone. Doesn't realize it's still live. So he's looking at it, gives it to his boss, which was like this big to-do dude with the gorillas, and he wore this green mask. But brilliant, because
everybody could see it.
Yeah. And whatever, like you say, just cover your ass. Keep something with you. Keep a stick, keep a pen, keep a whatever. But if beyond that, you still feel uncomfortable, do the thing I said. I'll watch it. Like, if you send me a fucking message and I will watch that shit, or it doesn't even matter if anybody watches it at the time, which I hope they would. I will if you send it to me, and then I'll call the police if need be. But at least there will be a record of it somewhere. Facebook will never delete any of your information. Right. So if the police say, hey, someone went live and they were murdered, Facebook will be like, oh, great. We keep literally everybody's information, no matter how mundane. And, worst case scenario, the person who hurt you, who got to hurt you, goes to jail or whatever, death penalty, whatever true crime case you want to pull from in the locale. Best case scenario, they see that phone, you say, you're live on Facebook, motherfucker, now what the fuck? And then, whatever, get in their face or wave your stick at them, keep your phone, swing the highlighter, keep yourself a fucking live. And by going live, hey, everybody, it's me, I'm walking in my car, and it is dark as fuck, like, whatever. Even if you're scared and you want to make noise, like, be like, oh, I'm going live on Facebook, like, because, criminals don't want to get caught. They are insanely stupid, though. So they may hear that and be like, haha, whatever.
Got 'em.
But if I were a criminal and I knew that, like, it's so easy to get caught. Like, why would you be a criminal? True crime is the stupidest fucking thing now. Because in the 70s, it was like, oh, we don't have DNA, we don't have this, we don't have that. Now, it's like, somebody gets murdered, they go through, okay, let's look at the murdered person's phone, look at all their contacts, and then look at all their contacts' text messages. 10 times out of 10, it's like, tick, 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 tick. I want to murder this person. Send to the person they murdered him with, and the police go, yeah, there you go, under arrest. Because there's a technology string of everything you do. And if you don't have one, then they say, well, you didn't have one, so that's weird. Well, I left my phone at home. Oh, that's weird. You left it home when your friend was murdered? Nothing you can do. You're always a murderer.
So this was back when you were talking about how you can make this whole thing a dojo. Mm-hmm. And Andy says, did somebody already make Monty Python banana joke? And Adam said, I wanted to, but it seemed like low-hanging fruit. Kayla says it still has appeal.
Oh my God.
It's been, yeah. And Adam says it would have been a slip-up.
Kayla and I had a lot of stick and tree-based puns.
I'm sure. Andy asked, but what if I traumatize my family and friends by showing them my grisly murder?
You would show them your grisly murder?
Well, if you're live and you get murdered.
Oh, well, okay.
Better to know than not know.
Right, because here's the thing. Of all the cases where the person goes missing, it's the same story every time. It's like, I thought... not knowing, blah, blah, blah. Like, everybody wants closure, but everybody who gets closure says it was better before. But then they always renege on that. So I'm going to think, you always want closure. People love solved mysteries, no matter how grisly, no matter how close they are to you. Like, I lost my nunchucks. I don't know where my nunchucks went. And it's a mystery, and it's going to bug me until the day I fucking die, because I don't remember giving them away. I definitely wouldn't have thrown them away. But they're gone. It's a mystery. If I had a memory of breaking them or throwing them away, I'd be like, I'm an idiot. But until that's proven, it's still a mystery. What else can we do? I'll save Todd Kindhammer for later. Slow down. Metaphors are bullshit.
I think one of the biggest things that I lack is the situational awareness.
Yeah.
I'm not good
100%.
at
like
noticing my surroundings.
No, you're very bad at that. And it's something that I'm trying to get you better at, because I mean, even you'll notice this with people. If you're like me and you're that type of person who's always a little hyper vigilant, like you're not strung out so far that you're always like, but I'm always looking at everything, like making sure things are okay. Like if you're one of those dudes whose head's always on a swivel, that's you. If that's not you, you can get there. You just have to train yourself to do it, because the more you do it, the better you get at it. Even if you don't know how. Like, if no one told you how to swing a stick, if you swing it 1,000,000 times, eventually your body will fall into place, and you'll swing that stick better than any fucking person on the planet, because your body is telling you, tighten this up, you're getting sore, look out for this. So that's why I'm not going to harp on, like, form a lot. Because if you do this enough, it's going to get tight, and you're going to get fast, and it's going to get better.
Andy says somewhere Trung is becoming a nunchuck master, and Adam says that's why he's learning physics.
Trung.
So he was here. He's probably gone, but he was here.
Since Adam and Andy are here, let's tell a story about them.
Oh.
Back in the old days, I was visiting Adam and Andy. I must have been in high school or something. And I can't remember. I don't think I brought this with me, but this is a chain whip. So, whatever. Back in the day, Adam and Andy and I was like, oh, you guys should get martial arts. And I was like, okay. So if you guys want to train with a chain whip, you can. However, get good with the stick first. Don't fucking touch this. But if you're not going to listen to me, I have an idea. So I told Adam and Andy, the training chain whip is a tennis ball with 50 to 150 pennies with some mule tape through it that you tape up with duct tape. And it's got a nice heavy thing on the end and you can do all your shit. I think, if I remember the story correctly, Andy hit himself in the balls, confirmed in the typing square. So you gotta watch out for that, because you'll have, whatever, $1.50 in pennies swinging around this mule tape, and you can't hit yourself in the balls. Another story, since this chain has a dart, can't see that's not really focusing, but so this chain has a dart. When it's flipping around, it's meant to shoot out into things. And if you do it right, it will. But if your foot's in the wrong place, it'll go into the wrong thing. So when my brother and I were training these, he flipped it over and boonk, stuck it right into his foot like a dart in a board.
Oh.
Boonk. Crazy.
Damn.
Anyway,
Mark,
so did Andy confirm?
Andy says, yep. Mark says, why do you have a chain whip? I'm scared. You're not even here.
It was one of the weapons we trained in. So when I got my first degree black belt, I did the staff, I did the kung fu sword. I didn't test on the nunchuck, we just did them. So we had like 3 weapons we had to learn, whatever. And like, here's an embarrassing story. So my teacher at the time was Chinese Kempo. So it's test time, we're gonna get our black belts. We all like, we were low budget training. So I didn't even own a gi, I didn't own a belt. So like the day before I get a belt, I get a brown belt. I had all the certificates, didn't have any of the belts. I get a brown belt and I get a gi. And so sad. My favorite staff in the world was this beautiful white waxwood staff, tapered at the end. Oh, much like this one, about its size. So, beginning of our bow form was, so angry. Huge, beautiful, sweeping movements. Took weeks to learn. But the first of almost every form, this happened with a sword too, start up or start down, your hand shoots up and the bow, you grab it right there at the end. And we've been doing it outside forever. So this will tie back into the Olympic story. I was training in a place with no ceiling, with a 6-foot staff. So I was constantly shooting it up, going around and up. So here I am, first form of my black belt test. First time in this uniform, my brown belt. It's a panel of 7 or 8 other black belts that I have to impress and get, for this test. First thing I do, shoot, bam, punch a hole in the ceiling. Popcorn, like it's one of those drop ceilings, so like the tiles fly apart and I'm covered in dust. Standing there as all the pieces are falling on me, and I'm like, I go, you didn't do it, man. So, got my black belt, fucked up that dude's ceiling. So, yeah.
I wonder if it's happened before. If other people have done that, if they've trained outside.
I mean, you have to. Like, it was, number one, martial arts schools typically have at least a 10-foot ceiling, if not 20, because of these motherfuckers. So the fact that it was an 8-foot drop ceiling, I was like, did no one plan ahead? Like 3 of the 5 forms we were doing were with these huge-ass weapons. I was like, But I couldn't say that because I was like, didn't anybody plan ahead? Like, whatever. Anyway, what I was going to say is, Andy hit himself in the nuts. So what I thought was, I had this long ass piece of fabric. It's pretty heavy. It's pretty stringy. I got this at a Goodwill for $1.
Nothing. Yeah.
Nothing. It's super stretchy, but not only that, like if you put a little weight at it, it's heavy enough. Like this is a chain whip, and you can hit yourself all you want with it. Like you'll get a semi-bad towel whip, but zero effort. And if it hits you in the face, doesn't matter. Hit you in the nuts, soft as a pillow. Also, if you want to train on a budget for nunchucks, it's my monogrammed, it's the L right there.
Whoa.
Monogrammed towel chucks. So if you want to train for free, get like, I don't know how old this towel is.
It's at least more than 10 years old, because
But it, like, if you just want to dick around and like, Amazon takes 2 days. But while you're waiting for those foam chucks, you can grab yourself a towel and just go through these, like it's the stick. Look at this, my nunchuck, X, X, up, up. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now you're gonna have to keep in mind, this thing will bend and you have to adjust because you don't want to do these things. And like with the stick, you can stop because it stops. But this will teach you before you kill yourself with a piece of wood. I can't tell you how many times I hit this bone. So I was like, nuts to it. Well, I didn't say nuts to it. I got one pair of those foam practice chucks. Da, 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 da. So the string broke like immediately. And I was like, done with that. So I got these. They must have been a pound a piece, the chucks. Metal chain. I was like, these are badass. And when you hit this area right here, this bone, it makes everything from it up dead. So when you're doing this and you get the swing wrong and it goes ting, your hand is dead and this thing is gone. I can't, like, we would always practice in the backyard, all of our weapons, and it would go clang and your hand would just go whoop and it would go every time.
Andy says, I learned Laijutsu in a YMCA trailer attachment. I never paid, but lies were as good as cash at the Y.
What? Is this a joke? Laijutsu?
Laijutsu?
Is that a real thing, Andy, or what are we talking about here? I don't understand.
Laijutsu?
I'm not familiar with that, but I'm not familiar with a lot. So here's something I learned recently, which I don't know why. So like I've been using these like fighting with sticks or whatever since I was junior high school or whatever. Scream sticks. Scream sticks. I thought, yeah, scream sticks. I just thought since I was learning Kenpo at the time that yeah, this is a Chinese martial art. It's Filipino. Like the eskrima sticks and all the it's a Filipino system. Everybody, maybe this is just a disabuse of notions, but everybody thinks that like Chinese and Japanese martial arts are like the peak. Because everybody likes jiu-jitsu or karate. All the famous ones are from that region. But like the Filipinos have a great system of fighting. The Indians, we got some Indian clubs coming tomorrow that I'm excited to try out because they've got, whatever, we can do that later. There are so many systems out there and nothing stops you from doing any and all of them. Like if you want to do a eskrima fighting, you say, yeah, it is a Filipino martial art based on sticks because in the developing countries, still most military forces use sticks or clubs or whatever. So that's after their gun goes away, obviously. Right. Then it's going to be like, yeah, fight a war with a club because it's 2021. Whatever. So that's what I'm going to say is if you want, if you're like me, you're going to go nuts and you're going to want to look up other videos or whatever.
You go down a very large rabbit hole.
Yeah. And you're going to end up places. So I thought, well, if you get there and want to start practicing or digging around or training, because there's never a bad time, even if you're just digging around. Like this is just a towel. Swinging it around will do jack shit, save for increase my coordination dexterity. But if someone were to look through this window at me standing here doing it, they'd be like, what is that idiot doing swinging a towel around? You're disguising repetition. I forgot what I was going with that. Oh yeah, the cheap weapons. So get yourself, whatever, a stick, get yourself one of these towels, get like anything this long. And I also had a good idea. I told Chris about this. I thought, well, what if I took my chain whip and I knit a scarf around it, right? So that way, if I'm out and about and things are getting sketchy, I've got the handle on this end, right? Flick, like, no problem. But that'll be in my Etsy store. Chain whip scarf.
Oh, bad idea. Are chain whips legal?
No, a lot of this stuff isn't legal. So again, I shouldn't say again because I haven't said it yet. A lot of the shit they sell you in martial arts stuff that'll make you look cool and feel cool, you can't carry. So don't marry yourself to a weapon. Like everybody loves the sword, everybody loves the nunchucks, everybody loves the staff, whatever. Teach yourself the most basic shit. It'll transfer to anything. And then if you want to, like let's say you want to eventually get yourself some sai or some nunchucks or whatever, keep them in your house because you don't want to be a weirdo. Not only is it illegal, you would be a we talked about this on the show, so I don't want to go over it again. But you'd be a weirdo. Don't be a weirdo. You can find a stick out in the world, or if God forbid you can't find a stick, you can still fight with these. I will help you. And after, like let's say you're done swinging this stick, when your hands are tired and your arms are tired and then they're strong, you'll be able to punch and we'll be able to do stuff. We'll do those drills. It'll all be a learning process. Does anybody have any questions?
No, but Mark says he's telling that we have a chain whip.
You can have it in the house. You just can't carry it around. So here's the story, Mark. So this was a bad idea. And I was stupid enough to do it. So, whatever. Unless you are really good at a chain whip, it is a fucking terrible weapon for self-defense. There's a lot of dudes out there that will push it. I went down a rabbit hole where this dude was like, it's the perfect weapon. And he had this, this is a training one, obviously. He had one that, it must have been a 40-pound chain this dude was swinging around. So whatever, good on him. But martial arts teacher was like, oh yeah, great weapon. Because what you do is, you take this baby, you loop it through your belt loops, right? And then you tie it up like that. And then you're the idiot wearing a fucking chain belt with your shit hanging out. And then whatever. I did it, obviously. I was an idiot kid. Never had to kill anybody with it. Didn't even pull it out of my belt because I was afraid of getting in trouble. And I would have. Because you can't carry around a chain with a spike on it, guys. You can keep one in your house.
Andy says, I've got a hatchet in my car for if I need to cut wood or go all Brian Saga on somebody. And Kayla says, I'll stick with the highlighter and Sharpie, 100% legal.
Oh, yeah. Not only that.
And it's free from work.
And it's free. You will never. Whatever. The thing about it is, it doesn't matter what it is that you put in your pocket, whether it's a Sharpie or a highlighter, you carry a stick or a gun or whatever. It's not what it does. Because this technically does nothing. A gun, a sword, they do nothing. They sit there, they do nothing. They're a symbol. It's comfort. When I got my pen in my pocket, just holding it, it's comforting. Dudes who carry guns and they feel all big nuts and shit. They're not when you ask them, shoot a lot of people with that gun? Because when was the last time you ran into a dude so high that it took you 8 times of reloading to finally put him down? Never. You'll never, hopefully never have to use a Sharpie in a lethal way. I pray to God you never have to kill a man with a Sharpie. But if you do, I want you to be able to.
Right. Andy says, a chain whip belt, it just screams mall ninja.
Bud K made a lot of things very laughable. But here, how about this? I don't know. I've got like 3 of these pens. Does anybody want one? I'll give them one. I'll send you one of these if you want one.
I used to have one too.
Uh,
We might not have any ink in it anymore.
yeah. I mean, I've got like 2 or 3 of them lying around. Like, if this is something you'd be interested in and don't really want to like whatever, I've got a couple extra. If you want one, I'll send you one. You can like practice with it and get the feel of it, or just stick with your Sharpie. It doesn't matter. I'm here to help. And I'm an idiot who buys too many of the same thing, so I've got lots to share. So if you want one, let me know, and we'll do some drills or whatever. Because there's a whole bunch of stuff you can do. Like, too much for tonight. I think we're probably done. But what time is it?
It is 9:15.
It's been a while. So since nobody has any questions, let me ask something. Did anybody learn anything? Does anybody feel like this was worth it? Like, watching this, do you feel like you either learned about true crime or self-defense? Or are you just impressed by the paint job of these sticks?
It's pretty sick.
Wow. Pine. $6 for basically $1 a foot at the hardware store. I don't know. I feel like I really like these because they were so cheap. I want to crank it up to 11, man. I want fucking flashy.
We already have. We're getting clubs in the mail
Those
tomorrow.
clubs aren't sticks. You want a
I
Collier or a Screama stick. It's like they make okay. Because here's what everybody's gonna maybe relate to, and I forgot to say it earlier. This is the same martial art, the Screama stick fighting, that the fucking Daredevil uses on Netflix, or even in the comics. If you were to watch it, like if they will see him fight and not just single panels. The Screama sticks, the double stick fighting is what Daredevil does. Like when you see him hitting these dudes, going down and hitting their legs, like this is all Daredevil. Like this is street level superhero shit. It's vigilante justice.
Mark says, absolutely, learned some good advice. Andy said, I like the usage of the plunger stick as a quick stand-in. And Kayla says, totally worth it.
Yeah. Because I'm going to give you some recommendations. One of the dudes I followed for martial arts training is a guy named Matt Pasquinelli, whatever. Quantum Martial Arts. He's been getting me back into stick fighting and bow staff and stuff. So I'm going to recommend his channel. If you like true crime stuff, I brought him up before, but like that chapter and True Crime Loser. I'm not sure about what to recommend on the Indian clubs yet because I don't know. It seems like a weird thing still, and
well, there's short documentaries on YouTube that we watched about how they came about and the countries that took them over. And
but I'm going to tell you something that took me forever to learn. Everything's the fucking same, guys. I wanted to learn, like, look at all this shit I have over here, and all the stuff I don't have anymore. I had all of the Ninja Turtle weapons. I went out of my way to learn all of the Ninja Turtle weapons. I learned, everything I thought was cool. I was like, when can I learn this? When can I learn this? My sensei was like, oh, well, after blah, 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 show proficiency. Spoiler alert, idiot. You were learning everything the whole time.
Just with a different
weapon.
Because
this with a stick is this with a chain whip, is this with a sword, is this with a bow staff. It's the same. 7 strikes, jabs, it's all the same. So master the stick and then pick up whatever you want. Call yourself, like, master a stick and be like, well, I'm a sword master. Because you will be. It's what? I was so angry when I found that out. Because I was very old. My current age.
My current age. Andy says, keep in mind that Daredevil's girlfriends keep dying. That's their own fault, though.
I'm not saying to live the life of Daredevil. I'm just saying kick ass like Daredevil kicks ass.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's the thing. I'm not, whatever. Keep it simple if you want, and I will probably keep these forever.
Yeah.
But that, whatever. I don't want to crap on anybody's. everybody's going to have a judgment and be like, well, I can do just as good with this, or you need this. Like, don't let the gear define you. Again, like I've said it before, but like your gear doesn't mean shit if you don't know how to use it. If you can't swing a stick, you're not going to be able to fight with a sword. Like the Shaolin monks, like everybody loves these stories. I'll tell you something. One, everybody loves these stories. They say, well, become a Shaolin monk, these trials, tribulations. Here's a story I got 2 teachers after the first teacher who told me the Olympic pool story. Crap, I forgot it.
Perfect.
What were we talking about?
We were talking about the monks.
Oh, yeah, sorry, the Shaolin monks. So, little Chinese guy, he says, I'm going to go be a Shaolin monk. They say, people in the village say, great, knock yourself out. He goes, $1 million a year, because that's how long they were going to train him. So he goes up there, and he does the whole thing, the ceremony, bowing. He says, I'm here to train as a monk. Okay. He says, take this huge cauldron of water, put it on this table, and I want you to stand here and slap the water until it is all gone out of this cauldron. Then I want you to take this cauldron to the river, fill it up, and slap the water out of this cauldron until it is empty. And then guess what you're going to do? He did that for a fucking year,
Wow.
according to the story. The entire year. Didn't ask a question because he was a monk. Just did what he was told. Whole year, day in, day out. Splash, splash, splash. Nothing. Whoop. So, after this year, he feels a little pissed. He feels a little ripped off. So he comes home. Everybody wants to know. Spent a year at the monastery. What did you learn? What did you learn? Very reserved, because he didn't want to actually tell them. He didn't learn shit. He spent a year slapping water out of a big iron cast iron thing. So finally, his parents, his family, his friends are bugging him, sitting at this big wooden table, big heavy oak, not oak obviously in China, but whatever hardwood they had. So finally, what have you done? You spent a year, please tell us. He goes, finally he's fed up and he's going to tell them the truth. He's like, I tell you, I've learned nothing. And he slams his hand onto the table to illustrate his point, and it shatters into 1,000,000 pieces. Because him slapping the water, just that little bit, makes you strong. There's a movie out there. It's boring, but you can watch it. It's called Iron and Silk. There's a dude in that movie who's a real dude who did this, and you can see him doing it in the movie. I can't remember his name. Story about how they were trying to bring Kung Fu and Wushu from Hong Kong to blah, blah, blah. Not the point. Dude was called the Iron Fist because he punched iron 1,000 times a day with his right hand. And it was a fucking ball of callus. It looked like a medieval cudgel. And almost every scene of him in the movie is punching a big iron sheet, or he's got a little piece of iron, and he's punching that. But that's the thing. He can do that 1-inch punch and destroy anything because just tap, tap, tap. It builds, it builds. So every time you swing is one more fraction of a percentage, but you're going to do it a fucking 1,000,000 times if you do it. So that boom, I can't believe that head exploded. Or, dude blew up the table the first time, you've done this 1,000,000 times in the air, thinking and thinking and thinking. God forbid you ever have to use it, but bonk, and you go, oh, it worked. I guess, yeah, so I'm glad to hear that you liked it.
Yeah, Adam said it's good stuff.
If you want to do different things, or you guys want to learn whatever, I'm trying to get back into it. I'll probably stick, ironically, to the sticks for a while if we do this again. If you guys like it, let me know. Get yourself some sticks, though. Even if you don't, whatever, you're never going to watch this again. Get yourself some sticks and just screw around with them. Even if you don't know what you're doing, hold them, swing them around, play with them. Because, like I was telling you, if you want to believe the bullshit, it will entangle your energies and your chi will become something. Or you'll become greater spatially aware and able to use them in a much better fashion.
And it's a good stress reliever.
It is, because any exercise is.
Yeah.
That's what's nice about this too, is I know I gave Adam a lot of shit for working out at home because I wanted weights. I wanted that sort of like experience. But doing this, I feel a lot more than lifting weights, like fatigue-wise.
Well, and it probably works more, it works your whole body as opposed to just weights working, a
Yeah.
specific area that you're doing.
I mean, look,
And
let
you're
me know-
doing this a lot more than you are going to the gym and doing 30
True.
reps.
That's the thing. Like, even though they don't weigh anything, if you're gonna do whatever a million times, it's gonna use your muscle. So I want to, if you guys do get your own sticks or whatever, I want to hear your experience. If you want to know where to get some cheap sticks, like the real rattan ones, you want to skip this step, I get it. I can point you in the right direction. But I want to know your experience. Like, if you start fooling around with them, like and doing the twirls and stuff, all these loose, and don't even even if you don't want to do the striking yet, just do this. Just do the, get a couple of them, do the whole thing, and then just do every warm-up exercise I showed you. Do it slow and then do it fast. Tell me how you feel in the morning. I bet your arms will be fucked.
Yeah. That happened to me.
$6. Fucking 3 sets of sticks. Anyway, guys, I guess that's it. Thank you for showing up for this first ever Flamingo Friday live true crime and self-defense.
That's long.
Oh, no, sorry. The title, Self-Defense Against Murders.
Yes.
Thank you for coming to the first Self-Defense Against Murders. I hope if someone tries to murder you, you can use what you learned here.
Not get
and
murdered.
not get murdered. Keep a Sharpie with you. Let me know if you want a tactical pen. Or whatever, Get a Sharpie. Go to Michael's. Anyway, guys, thanks for watching. Whatever. Here's the thing. I don't need to say the email anymore. Like, everybody's everywhere. Email. No one knows my email because no one emails me. You don't need to email me anymore. Why am I getting so angry about that? Probably because nobody knows it. I've said it 400,000 fucking times.
Adam.
Hey guys, thanks for showing up. Krista, why don't you act as our producer? And we will see you next time for another live show, for another Flamingo